Hi everybody, Marc Laurenson here from Sydney Astrology School, and Happy New Year! Happy 2024! I wish you all, from my heart to yours, the best year ever, and I want you all to have the peace and the happiness and the joy that you all deserve. So to start the year, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a whole new YouTube series, and this YouTube series is going to be called Sex and Intimacy. Okay? So there's going to be a lot of you out there going, okay, this is going to be interesting. But I'm an evolutionary astrologer, so therefore I am going to be looking at it from an evolutionary perspective. I'm going to be talking about what you need to learn in this particular area. I'm going to be talking about how we can play through it, how, the very human ways of being able to deal with this particular area. Also, hopefully there's going to be a few of you that are going to take some stuff away from this in a personal way, in a healing way, where you can actually enter into this particular area, where you feel like you've made some ground. Hopefully through the clips, I might be able to help you and head you in that direction as well. So I'm going to go through every sign one at a time. Now, I'm going to start with Aries, but don't think, I'm going to be doing them in zodiacal order, because I'm not. So if you're an Aquarius or a Pisces, don't think, oh, I'm going to have to wait until we get to the end of the line. I might actually bring them up earlier than you think. Now, again, I'm not just going to be talking about Aries. I'm going to be talking about the ruling planet. I'm going to be talking about Mars a lot too in this particular clip. I'm also going to be talking about the two houses that have a lot to do with sex and intimacy. And those houses are the fifth house and the eighth house. Okay, so if you have Aries on the cusp of the fifth house or the eighth house, planets in Aries in the fifth house or the eighth house, or Mars in the fifth house or the eighth house, Venus will also come into this. Venus in Aries will also play out in this. If you have Venus in Aries in either of those houses, it will play out really big. So it's not just going to be about Aries, it's going to be about all the things that I have just mentioned as well. So a lot of you will get a lot of information from this clip and hopefully the other ones to come. Okay, so let's get stuck into an understanding of Aries and Mars when it comes to sex and intimacy. Now, sex and intimacy are two very, very different things. A lot of us can actually have sex without intimacy. And I think Aries can do this quite well. And when I say they do this quite well, I mean it in a way that sex for Aries and sex for Mars is a primal, natural drive. Mars governs our sexual needs. Mars is very physical, and it's a sign that is a planet, sorry, that is motivated and excited and has the adrenaline and the juices running down the road of sex. And so I want to say that Aries or Mars in those particular areas of your chart, in the fifth house or the eighth house of your chart, I want to say that sex will probably be really quite high up there on the list of things that are important to you in this life. Now, whether you're going to be doing it in a healthy way or not is another story. And that's what we need to talk about in this clip. Now, the other side to this is intimacy. Intimacy is a different story for Aries. Getting close to people, being able to share themselves personally with somebody else, being able to share their feelings, being able to share their emotions with somebody else is not necessarily something that comes easily to Aries. So therefore, the Mars-Aries kind of personality in the intimacy stakes, I think needs a little bit of work. Now, this is really interesting because Mars always wants to be challenged. Mars is about, and Aries is about bravery. It's about courage. And so to get intimate with somebody, the Aries nature has to become brave. It has to be courageous enough to go into an emotional space with somebody else and be able to share themselves, go into a place of vulnerability and to be able to share themselves on that level. Now, how would Mars do that? How would Aries do that? Because, as I said, it's not a natural place that they want to go. So The best way of understanding this is that Aries loves to be challenged. Aries is always going to be about winning in the end. So therefore, to come into a place of getting close to somebody, sharing feelings, and being able to be intimate, Aries has to look on it on like a goal, like kicking a goal. I need to triumph in this area. I need to get the trophy in this area. So that could be a really good motivator. That could be a really good motivator by saying, opening myself up emotionally, becoming vulnerable, but not being scared of my feelings, not being scared of somebody else's feelings, not being scared of being able to touch somebody else heart to heart. I want to say that could actually be something that Aries might strive for, on the level of being able to triumph with. So it's a good motivator. It's a good motivator to actually look at it from that level. As I said, the sexual side, I want to say, might come a little bit easier for Aries because sex for Aries is a way of being able to find excitement, exhilaration. It's life affirming, it's life giving. It allows that Aries nature, the adrenaline of the Aries nature or the Mars nature, to assert itself and exert itself. So again, that really is important in that kind of way. I feel that a lot of Aries love to be challenged, as I said. So you'll find a lot of Aries in relationships with people, particularly Aries men in relationships with very controlling women. I've seen this quite a lot in my own life, not personally, but in my own life, of people around me. And I often think, why is that? Why Aries men with controlling women? And then I just realize that it's a challenge thing. Aries needs to be challenged, and controlling women keep them on their toes. So there's something about that, that need to go in there and to win in some kind of way. Now, you've got to look at the winning side of things when it comes to sex with Aries and Mars as well, because Aries and Mars wants to be the best, and so it wants to be the best in sex as well. So again, it could be I have to prove myself. I have to prove myself sexually. That's my way of making me feel like a winner. I feel like a winner through sex. It's got that feeling of wasn't I fabulous? What did you think of that? That kind of feeling. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that feeling of feeling proud about yourself on that level. But again, if it's that feeling of I have to prove myself that way, then you might have to look at why that's going on for you. The female side of this is really interesting. Female Aries, females with Mars in the 8th house or the 5th house, they'll often bring out the more Lilith side of their personalities. I find they're very, very, um, uh, when I say strong women, I don't necessarily mean overtly strong, but there's something in their natures that really do need to be in a place where they don't get told what to do. When they're in a place where they can actually be the more of the initiator in sex, and where they can actually make choices around what they want in sex. That's really, really important for Mars women, Aries women, and also allowing themselves to enjoy it, allowing themselves to have fun in sex, allowing themselves to really throw themselves into this hook, line, and sinker and be a 21st century woman as far as sex is concerned. Intimacy for Aries women, Mars women, could actually be sexual at the same time. It's almost like sex and intimacy do go hand in hand. They do come together a lot more, probably a lot easier, I want to say, than Mars men or Aries men. They might actually find connecting feeling wise might be a little bit easier, but then again, you've got to be careful of the controlling thing that can go on. The power plays that can go on with this. They have to be able to be in a place where they're not in the overpower seat, where they're having power over somebody else, or the other side of it. They have to be very careful of being overpowered or controlled by somebody else. So they have to kind of meet their match, so to speak, in a really, really healthy way. Venus in Aries is really interesting. I know uh, a person who really went out on a limb with Venus in Aries. She actually got on a plane with just a trench coat. That's all she had. Nothing underneath. She got on a plane with a trench coat. With a trench coat. She was going down to meet her lover in another state, and so when she arrived at his door, she just took the trench coat off, and there she was. That's very Venus in Aries. And I want to salute her for that. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful Venus in Aries thing to do. Her Venus in Aries was in the 8th house as well. So beautiful, beautiful way of being able to do Venus in Aries. It was exciting. It was exhilarating. It was sexual. It was fun. Love it. Love that kind of stuff. So I wanna bring in the therapeutic side of this, because to really be able to come into a place of having a healthy sex life, I feel for Aries is always going to be around getting out the Aries need for assertion, the need for excitement, the need for to be able to make something happen. That's very Aries. And so, therefore, I want to bring sex into that as well. I want to bring sex into that part of them that actually feels alive, that actually feels like this is what makes me feel like I'm on top of things, and I'm on top of myself, that I'm on top of life. I find a lot of people with Mars in the 5th house, or Aries on the cusp, or lots of planets in Aries in the 5th house, feel this. It actually brings them a lot of joy. Sex brings in joy. And so we've got to remember that. There was a book written, I think it was in the 70s, called The Joy of Sex. And we have to remember that sex is a joyful thing. And I want to go down the road of saying that Aries and Mars knows this and recognizes this and wants to bring sex into its life in a joyful way. So again, when you're looking at sex, when you're looking at getting close to people, it is supposed to be a feeling of being able to be enlivened by it, being able to feel, totally uh, it's almost like a feeling of a higher connection. It's got that spiritual kind of feeling of tantric. People were talking about tantric sex back in the old days. I talk a little bit more about that, probably more with the water signs, but there was something about the edge, taking things to the edge, which is very, very Marsy and very Aries as well. So being able to be in a place where you can feel safe, and where you can feel alive, and where you can feel that you're in control. And when I say what you're in control, I'm talking about being in control of yourself in those particular areas. Then it feels to me like this is a really healthy way of being able to experience this. I want to end by talking about vulnerability, by intimacy, and by coming into a place of, as I said, of being able to be courageous enough to be able to connect feeling wise with somebody else and share yourself, share your heart, share your soul, share intimate moments, share secrets, share what you feel about each other, to be able to say I love you, to be able to connect on that level is high Aries work, high Mars work, because the courage to do that, and to be able to do that well, and to be able to do that successfully, is when Aries really, really triumphs.